I'm Pete Daniel, and I love to film the wildlife in my home of the Tamar Valley. The Tamar Valley is on the border of Devon and Cornwall. Join me as I show you the wildlife around the Tamar Valley for 12 months. Well, do you know, I think spring has finally arrived in the Tamar Valley. We're having some fantastic weather at the moment. The skies are blue, the sun's shining, the birds is singing and the flowers is coming out. But I got so much to do, I gotta get on. I don't want to end up missing it all. Well, I've come up this morning to do my chickens, and then after I've done all the chickens, let them out and fed them, there's something I want to show you what I want to do this year, and hopefully get some good results on it as well. Hello boys, all right, come on in. There's Scott, right boy. There's the food. Right, that's all the chickens done. Now I've done the chickens, there's someone else I want you to meet. Hello Fluff. You alright Fluff? How you doing then? Hey? You good girl? Yeah? Where you been? Hey? Where you been? You clever, aren't you, eh? You good mate, ain't you? Hey? Yes you is. Hey, good girl. Well, this is who I wanted you to meet. This is Fluffs. This is our resident stray cat. And she's been living up the garden now for about 18 months to 2 years. And I looks after her. I feed her twice a day, morning and evening. I've even made a little bed for her down here in the greenhouse where she sleeps. She's got a nice big comfy pillow and the old cat box, all wrapped up in blankets and everything to keep her warm. Like I say, I feed her twice a day, but it took a little while for her to be friendly like this, and she's only really friendly like this to me. She's still a bit dubious attaching the girls and anyone else that comes up. But it took me months and months and months to get it, I guess, because I used to come up and just put food down for her in the greenhouse in the tray, and she'd come across the garden. When I'd stand there and watch, and she'd come across from next door's garden, come in and eat it, and then disappear. Well, it took about 2 or 3 months for her to trust me, if you like, I suppose, and she would come in same time, and I'd put the food down and she'd be down there, and then as I go out the door of the greenhouse, she'd jump up and start eating it. And now, of course, you can see how friendly she is. Turned into a proper little lap cat. And you Fluffs, eh? Yeah, so it's breakfast time for Fluffs now. It's time for me to feed her. There we go. Here you go. Good mate. Alright? Good girl, aren't you? Okay, I gotta get on. Can't stay here talking to you all day. Alright? Good mate. So the last job of the garden this morning is to feed the bird table. Keep my birdies happy. So I just put a little bit of bird food on there. Keep them happy. And for a good reason too, and I'm going to show you that now. Right, This is project number 1 this year. This is what I want to show you first, and this is my bird boxes. Every year I've had this bird box for the last 5 or 6 years on the shed, and every year in nesting season, when it's all finished and I clean the box out, there's always been nesting birds in there. There's been a nest that's been used, which is great news. So what I've done is I've put the bird box back up on the end of the shed, and I've put one around the back of the shed as well, and I've put a camera in each one. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get some nesting birds. Come and have a look in the shed and I'll show you the setup in there. Well, if you have a look in my shed, look, you'll see what's going on. I've got the 2 sets of cables coming in from the bird box cameras. They come into the shed and then they go into extension lead, which will come down and plug into my laptop, which will be on top of my toolbox there. And then hopefully we'll plug the battery pack in, put the cameras on, the picture will come up on the screen of the laptop, and fingers crossed we'll see something going on in the bird boxes. So I'll come back and check that in about a week's time, maybe 10 days, and see what's happening. But if we get something, it'll be really, really good. And I'm looking forward to doing this. Right, must be time to get home and have my breakfast. Well, with the sun shining, I'm making my way down home to look for one of my favourite birds of the Tamar Valley. Well, last year I was lucky enough to film the woodpeckers in their nest. I found 2 last year in 2 different locations. Now, woodpeckers normally come back to the same spot every year to nest. And when I say I was lucky last year, you have a look at where the nest was too. I'll show you. Right there. Not even 6 foot off the ground. Absolutely brilliant it was. I was down there hiding and I could look right into that nest and I could see the woodpeckers coming in and out earlier on last year. But like I say, they normally come back to the same area every year, so I'm hoping to do the same again, but I doubt I'll be as lucky as that again. Woodpecker, go on again. Right. Male goes in. Brilliant. Oh, there he goes. That was the female going back in with a beak full of food. So she's got chicks in her hole, which is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That's brilliant that the female goes out and the male goes in with more food. Do you know, that's brilliant. I've seen both the adult woodpecker birds now in and out the nest hole, okay, feeding the chicks, and I can hear the chicks inside that nest as well. So that's absolutely brilliant to know that there's some chicks in there. So I'm going to stay here for another 10-15 minutes, then I'm going to get out the way and come back early part of June when the chicks will be a bit bigger and the parents will be feeding more regular, okay? But this is brilliant, man. Brilliant. Well, the weather's coming brave and wet in the Tamar Valley, but there's one animal I want to show you this year. It's one of my favourite animals, and I'm hoping even with this wet weather I'll be able to do that. Can you believe that? I've just come into the barn and there's a hare in there. Look. He's only young, isn't he? Hey? What's he doing? There he is. Come on, boy! Ah! Really, mate. Well, with the weather turning so nasty outside, I can't really do a lot out there with filming, so I've decided to come up to the barn. I've come up to the barn to set up one of my trail cameras, because what I want to try and show you is the barn owl. Now, for 30 plus years, barn owls have been using this barn, and what I want to try and do is set a trail camera up on the A-frame, pointed into that hayloft at the back, because at the back of that hayloft there's a barn owl nesting box. Okay, so what I want to try and do is show you the barn owl coming in and out. Now, already I've seen good signs that the barn owls here using this barn regularly. You come and have a look at this. This is one of the first indications that the barn owl has been here. Behind the hayloft door is poop sprayed down the hayloft wall. So I expect that's where the barn owl has been sat on top of the door. Well, the second clear indication that the barn owl's been here is on the barn floor, and that is in the form of pellets. Well, what's a pellet? A pellet is basically everything that the barn owl can't digest. So you're looking at the bones and the fur, mainly, of the little mice or shrews and voles and that the barn owls catch and they eat. Of course, the barn owls can't chew it up because they haven't got teeth. So what they do is they get the little mouse and they get him and they're, well, like this, and they swallow him whole. And as he goes down and into the stomach, it gets digested, and then all the fur and the bones, they form together into this pellet, and then the barn owl will basically cough it up and spit it out, and it ends up on the floor. And that's how you can tell what the barn owls have been eating. And there's several on the floor here, and I'm just going to show you some now, just so you can see what they look like. To anyone else, it looked like just the mud on the floor. Okay, looking at the barn floor, right underneath the hayloft door, already I can see 5 or 6 pellets. Now, to most people, the whole of the floor looks the same colour. But look, that's 1 pellet there, and that's 2, 3. There's a really old one there, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's another one there, 8. So there's at least 8 pellets I can see. Now, the reason I can tell you that this here is a pellet, it probably just looks like a bit of the floor, but you see the white in the middle, that's all the bones. That's what I was saying about what can't be digested gets regurgitated. I can see that's little bones there. All right. Now this pellet here is pretty much a perfect shape. If I pick it up and show you, there you go. That's a perfect shape of a pellet that's been regurgitated by the barn owl. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that one up, and hopefully we'll see what's inside of that one and see what the barn owls have been eating. So I'm going to break open this pellet and have a look inside, and hopefully be able to show you something that the barn owl's been eating. Right, so there's the pellet, and already you can see, hopefully, down and around here, there's all little bits of bone and everything sticking out. So what I'm going to do is just open it up. Look at that, all packed in there. Look. See all the little bones and everything. So there's a proper little bone there, if I can go gently enough. See, oh, is this the skull? Is this a skull? There's a hell of a lot of bones packed in there very tightly, look, and a bit of fur around it. Nope, can't see no sign of a skull. I was hoping we were going to find a skull. What about in this half? Yep, there you go. If I can get it out gently enough without breaking it. There we go. And that, oh, I've dropped it. That is the skull of a little mouse or something that the barn owl's eaten. Okay? And that's why it regurgitates it, because it can't digest it. But there you go, there's the skull. Brilliant. Well, that's really, really good to have an insight into what the barn owl's eating. So the last thing for me to do now is to set up a trail camera, and I'll leave it for a week, and hopefully when I come back and check it, we'll have something of the barn owl on there. But I've got to get up on that A-frame now, and that's not easy for an old man like me. Right, well I'm back up the shed where the bird boxes are, and I've come up, it's been about a week, 10 days now since I put the bird boxes up. I moved one, of course I had one on the end of the shed and one on the back. I've moved the one on the end to the other side of the shed just because the neighbours in the allotment there have dug a pond in the bottom corner, so I'm thinking it might have disturbed it all too much. So I've just moved the box down the other side of the shed. I'm just starting up the program now. I'll turn the screen so you can see it as it comes up. Right, it's all plugged into that box. That's all plugged in. Why is it not working? It must be something. Battery pack. Might help if I turn that on, get some power to the camera. Right, put that on. Put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, right, there's the picture. Box is empty. You can see on the screen that the box, you can see the holes in the bottom that I put in there, so nothing going on in that box. I'm just hoping I haven't missed this by moving the box there and all the disruption going on next door. Right, what I'll do now, I just unplug that one. Oh, that's a bit disappointing. I was hoping to see something, but let's try this one. Put that one in. Right, power. Okay. Well, yeah, we got something. We got a nest in the box. I better start talking a bit quiet then, right? Yep, right. I'll blow the screen up. It's a bit blurry. I don't know why, but if you can see that, we've got a nest going on in the bottom of this box. So that's brilliant. So hopefully, in the next week or so, we might get some chicks in there. That'll be good. I'm just hoping that the bird didn't start building this nest before all the disruption was going on next door. Because if it has, it may well have put the bird off. They might not come back and nest here. But we'll give it a couple of days and we'll come back and check again. And fingers crossed, there'll be something in this box. There's still time. There's still time. Right. Let's shut this down. And get out of here. Shut the chickens in and get home. Right. That's done. Okay. Well, we'll come back. Have a look at that later on. Well, join me next time in my year in the valley as I go back to see if there's any results on my barn owl camera. I start work up the garden as well as checking to see if there's any progress in my bird box. Also, I try and film a bird of prey that turns out to be a little bit trickier than what I expected. And of course, there's bound to be a chicken adventure on the way.